So how do you feel then about how he's being addressed in retaliation?
All right. See, what's happening here is people are not understanding each other's backgrounds. You see, he is not a Muslim. He doesn't understand the sensitivities of the subject. Furthermore, he may not even be able to comprehend it. Do you see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Him and many others like him. Now, on the flip side, with the Muslims, it's basically, remember how I said to you earlier on, Islam to me is everything. It's what gives me peace, it's what gives me purpose. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
It's my number one joy in life. You see what I'm saying to you? Now, with that said, many Muslims feel the same way. And you gotta understand that without the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, we wouldn't have had that peace that we've got today. So it's because we value it so much, and because we know what he went through to bring us this message. Do you see what I'm saying to you? It means more to us than anything. No Muslim will have, I promise you this, no Muslim will have any quarrel in telling you straight to your face, there is nothing and nobody we love in this earth more than our Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him.
I hear that.
And we'll never, you see, this is what's happening is, I feel like a lot of people in the world are trying to make us docile. They're trying to disconnect us from what they seem to think is just like some mad, insane,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
Adoration. But what we're trying to say is that regardless of whether non-Muslims understand it or not, we will never flicker.
I hear that still. But as I said though, so how now do you see as an appropriate way of dealing with someone who what's the word? Like slander?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But in like, you don't know what a man's intentions is until you test them, innit? I don't know how you will go about that still, but
No, I agree with you.
so
But
any type of like if you feel any type of disrespect from somebody else, whether they intended it or not, how do you go about responding to that? Or how do you feel is appropriate in regards to how people have been dealing with man?
you see, this is the thing. I think people are being a bit naive. Every single human being has a limit.
Yeah.
Every single human being, the most peaceful man on earth, you can reach his limit.
Most definitely.
Do you see what I'm saying to you? That's just, it's the animal in us, if you like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The smallest person, the biggest person, the kindest, the baddest, whatever you like, every single entity on this planet has a limit. I think the issue people are having is our particular limit, which basically means people are trying to impose on us.
In what sense?
Well, if you understand that every single human being has a limit, then you need to also understand that it's up to that particular individual to decide what their limit is. We can't impose anything on anyone. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So if I say to you, this is my limit, do not go there, you don't go there. And if you go there, you deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
I'm not going to two-step around that. It's just factual.
Yeah. So do you feel that it's appropriate for a man to, like in Speaker's Corner, to physically try and control someone or thump them up, or like the quote is rip man's head off, innit? Because somebody said something that is offensive?
No, see, appropriate is a different question now. You asked me about reality of things that happen. Yeah. All I'm saying is factually
I hear that
speaking,
still.
Every human being has a limit. I haven't said anything besides that.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying to you?
That's why I'm clarifying. I'm with you on that.
All right,
I'm with
cool.
you on that. But that's why I'm trying to clarify now. In this environment,
yeah,
Speaker's Corner.
Yeah.
I don't know, like people's been saying that there's certain rules and rare. A man showed me like what he said was the rules of Speaker's Corner, where it said that you can't you can't be malicious and you can't swear and rare. But when I looked at the thing that you're showing me, at the top of the list it says there are no rules in Speaker's Corner. And it says, but we would like you to observe these, I can't remember what the actual word was.
I agree.
To observe these things, you hear me? So it's like, they're just asking me to be considerate. And that's what I took from it. They're asking me to be considerate, but not necessarily follow these things.
Yeah.
They're like suggestions rather than orders, you know what I'm saying?
I would say I agree with that.
So I can't say that I know of any rules to Speaker's Corner.
I would say I wholeheartedly agree with that. Let me just put it this way.
Yeah.
I would put it this way. There are no rules in Speaker's Corner, but please do consider that people have limits.
Yeah. Most definitely. But as I said, so here's my thing now. I do consider that people's got limits, but I do know, like through going to Speaker's Corner from like back in the day even, you get me? Like there was people that come there just to heckle, innit?
Yeah.
Man used to go there and just like there was professional hecklers, innit?
Okay.
There's only a few of them still that's about today. I think that, one atheist brother, the one more times he's got a checkered shirt and he's always just going there. Like, he'll move to anyone about anything.
Yeah.
And just try and ridicule, man. You get me?
Yeah.
Like, so it's been
I
that
find
type
that
of
kind of fun. Don't get me wrong.
it's been that type of environment. You get me? Where man are purposely trying to find something that makes somebody.
I'm not necessarily trying to change that environment at all.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that there should be consequences. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? I'm not saying that it should change. I'm not saying that people should get in their feelings and they're allowed to, any of the sort. I'm simply saying, first of all, Speaker's Corner need to be the way you said it was. I don't disagree with you whatsoever. Do you see what I'm saying to you, yeah?
Yeah, like all I'm saying.
I also acknowledge that we live in planet Earth.
Yeah, most definitely. But
That's
here's my response to that as well now. It's like, so there should be certain expectations of people who's going to, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there should be, as if I made the rules in Speaker's Corner. Scrap that. Not there should be. Not there should be. I'm going to say, my observation of Speaker's Corner, what I see it to mean is that it's a place where you can go and say anything, literally anything, and expect to hear anything, literally anything. I don't think there's many places that exist like that on planet. Like even like forums or anything that's invented, where you can literally say anything and expect to hear anything.
I agree.
You get me? And
I like that.
Bearing that in mind, I feel like people don't go there to fight, innit? Physically.
Yeah.
People go there to fight verbally, innit?
Yeah.
And have a battle of the minds, like who's got the endurance or who's got information that they could be teaching and learning from each other.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it should ever go to, not saying that I will never lick a man down in Speaker's Corner, you know, I don't know. I just said, fam, we're human. but I'm going there with a consciousness in my mind that I'm all right, cool, I'm psyched up, I'm ready for it. Like whatever's whatever. Let me try and, obviously I'm just there as a cameraman, innit? But when I used to go there and I used to say two words and that, I'm going there just to reason. Like, man's from off the road, innit? And I know what it is on the road. I know what you can and can't say on the road because there's consequences, like on site, you get me?
Yeah.
But in Speaker's Corner, it's not that, fam. I'm hearing man say, like, the rudest things that man can imagine, but I'm expecting to hear that. So I know I'm going to hear that, so I'm going there knowing that I can take that as well, you get me?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be going there. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, so in that regard, obviously man's humans, but having that in your conscious that it's a place where you can expect to hear anything. Why would you still go there when you know that there's certain things what you're gonna hear that you don't want to hear that's gonna make you react violently? You get me?
Yeah.
What do you say in response to that?
In response to that, first and foremost, I totally agree with you. I value Speaker's Corner's freedom of speech, etiquette. I'm not gonna lie to you, I like hustlers, I like a bit of, hustle and bustle. Do you know what I mean? I mean, all of that is entertaining and it's fun. I love all of that, don't get me wrong. And I don't want it to change whatsoever. I don't for a moment I'm not for a moment condoning any effect on that freedom. Do you see what I'm saying to you? That's not what I'm doing at all. I simply acknowledge that limits are reached in places way more sacred than freedom of speech.
Speaker's Corner.
Than Speaker's Corner.
Most
I
definitely.
mean, limits that are reached at home with family. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Limits that are reached in religious institutions, whether it be masajids. I hate that word, mosque. Masjids, or what's it called? Churches and synagogues and stuff like that. Places where people actually think they're in the presence of God.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they still can have their limits reached.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying to you?
Most definitely.
So, with that said, I personally love for Speaker's Corner to be the way it is. It should be a place where you should expect to hear anything. Do you see what I'm saying to you? But I just think it's naive for any human being to think at no point.
Someone's gonna reach their limit. And it's gonna kick off.
Yeah, at
Most
no point say anything you want.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at no point will any human being.
Now there's been fights there back in the day as well. Still.
Do you
There's
see
been
what I'm
fights.
saying? It's just not. I don't think you could ever be in an environment where it's completely. See, there's freedom of speech and then there's slander.
Yeah.
The thing is, see, with Speaker's Corner, we can have difference of opinion, we can have different ideologies and stuff like that. But once we have concluded that something is factually incorrect,
Yeah.
and repeating it becomes slander.
Yeah.
Once we have concluded that logically, and you continue, then it's easier for you to get in that person's skin.
But you see, when you say once we concluded that,
Yes.
so how would you know? Like everything's up to each individual's interpretation. You get me? So how would you, like, even if someone's offended by something, who's to say that the other person who they're offended by meant offense? And this ain't in regard to the Sarah Abdul thing. This is just in general I'm talking.
True.
You get me? It's up to your own individual interpretation, isn't it?
No, I agree with you, but in terms of the Muslims, really and truly, this is the only thing we have an issue with.
Yeah.
The only thing we have an issue with is this particular claim, which I have proven right now on the iPad that it is factually incorrect. It's not. Then it then is not up to the person to interpret. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not up to me to interpret it. It's not up to any other particular individual to interpret it. Factually speaking, even if we put the dictionary aside, yeah, even if we put the dictionary aside, and we think about this logically, if a child reaches puberty, and you still call him a child, you're basically saying no change has happened to that person. There's like no difference between before they reach puberty or after puberty, or is there like a middle name between child and adult? Like, was it teen? You want to call it teenager? Is that what it is? Do you see what I'm saying? Call it teenager.
I hear what you're saying still.
Just make sense of it. That's all I'm saying.
But I would ask you to bear in mind that, as I said, not everybody interprets things the same way. And I feel like the general consensus out there would be, when it comes to the word child, what do you think people mean? I don't think it's necessarily a puberty thing. I think it's like of someone of a certain age, and not necessarily by a consensus like, all right, this is the age limit, anyone who's under there is a child, anyone who's over there is a child. I feel like just generally, when you say child, people ain't necessarily considering puberty. They're just like someone who's like goes to primary school, because.
But then we're gonna have problems.
We are having problems.
No, but I'm saying we're gonna have even more problems if we step away.
Because I feel like that's
puberty.
I feel like that's. I'm not saying we should.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but I feel like that's what the general perception.
I get it.
The perception of these words are. You get me?
I get it, but then what I'm trying to say to you is, if you don't take the puberty route and you take another route, you're gonna end up in a lot more mess than this puberty route. And I'll tell you why. For example, 30-year-old men are considered their children by their mothers.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm lying.
Yeah, no, you're telling the truth, man. I mean, man. They consider their mom's baby, certain man.
So when does it stop?